they humiliated, and I really do believe that it is true that they humiliated the cast of Batgirl. They did not tell them before they made the announcement that they were canceling this movie.
Is this intentional? An intentional way to slight them? That's
How
what
so?
I want to know.
I don't think so.
Because there's no reason that they couldn't have given them a heads up. They had to find out by looking at the news cycle hours after the rest of the world found out.
I don't believe that's true.
That's what they're saying.
They were saying that Mike DeLuca, one of the guys over in charge,
they called him
there,
a scared little bunny who's afraid of conflict.
Conflict averse.
So much so that he can't tell this cast and crew that he scrapped their project.
That seems ridiculous to me. Like, you don't get to that level.
Or get someone else to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know why he would be personally in charge of it.
I just want to say, like, you guys know, like, all the absolutely disastrous horseshit movies that have come out in the last decade. And this one was apparently so bad that not even woke Hollywood could take it.
I don't know if I buy that.
They're insisting that it's not about the quality of it, but the inside sources,
One of
the
them-
anonymous sources say
30%
undeniable.
said 30%. Like, they said they were getting ratings of 30, and it says ... out of 100.
Yeah.
So, 30 out of 100. I feel like that's still, like, this wasn't going to the theaters. 30 out of 100, you just dump it onto the streaming service anyways. But they're worried about it damaging the brand and what those having to then continue to use those characters down the line who have been put in this awful movie. I feel bad for Brendan Fraser, who looks absolutely freaking awesome as Firefly, as Garfield Lenz in this, and Michael Keaton's stunt double, because I saw none of Michael Keaton. I saw just Michael Keaton's jacked stunt double in the cool Batman '89 suit.
In this New York Post article, the anonymous source said, of course, if it were good, they'd release it.
Yeah.
They think Batgirl is a super important character and they can't stick her in a huge dog. Does that mean they can't first introduce this character as a side, like supporting character in a larger theatrical release? They would rather use this HBO Max release
To announce the character. Yeah, it feels to me like you'd be just as fine, letting her appear in another project. I mean, they did Sasha Calle as Supergirl? Yeah, Supergirl. That's coming out still, and she's going to be in the Flash movie, I believe.
Well, now people think that Supergirl is going to be on the chopping block as well.
And also, they're talking about Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle may also get the axe as well. So I don't think Blue Beetle will. Blue Beetle is a lot of people were calling this woke. I hate that term because of the ginger side that is the disruption. Getting rid of red-haired Barbara Gordon and replacing it with a Latino woman. But the Blue Beetle character's already Latino, so it doesn't really matter. That's not woke. That's following comic book accuracy.
I thought it was hilarious that people were complaining about this movie getting shelved on the basis that Leslie Grace is Latina alone. Like, that's it.
That's what they were saying. Yeah, they basically like, you can't shelve it. It's a win for diversity. I said, but they don't care. The number one reason, according to what I read, was tax credits, basically. Like, it's an accounting write-off that they can have because of the merger of the company, but they only have it available to them till the middle of this month because they just did their quarterly earnings report, so they had to get it on the books as quickly as possible, which proves that in the end what really matters is what we've always said. Or, I'm sorry, what I always say, money.
Well,
it's what money is.
Yeah, I think it's especially a vindication for people like us that Joker 2 just got its release date announced right after this, or was it right before?
Just right in the same time period.
Warner Brothers, and it just shows like the straight white male characters are making the money.
And one thing that came, I was actually going to save it for tomorrow, but since you brought it up, they had Lady Gaga make her official announcement of being part of that movie today as well. So they're just getting the bad press off there and make the big announcements, because people are in a lot of ways very short-sighted. They're like, ooh, shiny object over there. Look at that. We'll go talk about that.
I mean, I can't imagine there was a huge audience anticipation for Batgirl though. It's a big character, but it wasn't supposed to be a big release, and they didn't cover it at Comic-Con.
when it was when if they would make an Oracle movie of just the Barbara Gordon character from a different time, or if this movie was more tied into the other movies, then that might make more sense for it to be a bigger project. But the original timeline is such a freaking mess anyways, it doesn't matter. Like they should just scrap and start again.
Well, are they gonna scrap it on absolutely everything? Like it's gonna get no release?
Nothing.
No release.
Not even on digital?
No, this was never going to be a
It was
theater
always
release.
going to be
Thank you.
HBO Max only.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
never
And they were like,
going to-
nope, not even that.
Okay, so how about another Dane prediction?
Okay.
Have you guys ever heard about the movie called The Room?
the
Yeah.
one with Brie Larson.
No.
The one with Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that movie was so bad that it became like a pop
So
culture
bad
classic.
it's good.
There's too much money dumped into this to be so bad it's good.
So it's entirely possible that this is a marketing scheme to be like, if you really want to see the movie that's so bad that it had to be taken down from everything, and then they have like a digital release.
They should just do really bad ADR through the whole movie.
Yep.
And
Because
then
I'd want to
release it.
watch it at that point, right?
Well, I mean, they did the same thing. I mean, the Snyder cut. They for 2 or 5 years they promoted trying to get the Zack Snyder version of that movie to come out, and they did. So there's a precedent set there. But I think that it's more likely that this has to do with the politics of Warner of Discovery buying Warner Brothers, and now David Zaslav is taking over and chopping the projects that he doesn't have any faith in.
Do
and if
you
he
think
can
that
get
David Zaslav watched Batgirl?
I think he probably saw a cut of it. Yeah.
And he was like losing all faith in it.
I think that he looked at the studio strategy. I think if I was
I
to
don't
give
think
him,
it can entirely be divorced from the quality of the movie. If he liked it,
yeah.
it would be out.
Okay.
Undeniable.
And if he had a plan going in, maybe that's true. But like the way I mentioned yesterday, I said I think that Marvel is watering everything down with 9 different streaming series and the movies. Maybe DC would be better off focusing on just studio releases with main characters and let the other characters fit in where they may. I don't
know.
need also it was a movie, not a show.
Listen, my thing is that there's so many versions of this particular cinematic universe already, and a lot of them are like super high quality. Like, not all of them are Ben Affleck Batman. Like, a lot of them are really, really good. I gotta do it. It's not a Pop Culture Crisis episode if we don't do it. So, if it's like a really particularly atrocious entry, like, it really could do some damage to their brand. And honestly,
They've done enough damage to themselves. That DC has already done. As a DC fan, there is no concrete timeline. They're switching out Batman every 3 weeks for Michael Keaton, or then it's Ben Affleck, and then it's this and it's that. There's barely continuity to any. Okay, put it this way: I can barely follow it, and I love following this stuff. Normies have no clue what's going on.
But they don't want to have a clue what's going on. They don't really care.
Yeah. Also, this happened while the directors were at a wedding.
Yes, it was
That was
one of
very-
the director's weddings. I think
I don't remember.
It wasn't
I
Fala.
thought they were at another person's wedding. I didn't realize that they were at one
it
of
was
theirs.
at one of the director's
that's
weddings.
so sad.
And they
Like,
thought that after the wedding,
yeah.
which the one director had invited the other two, that after that they were going to continue working on it.
They did the
and it's
same-
just like, great.
They did the same. WWE did the same thing to CM Punk on his wedding day. They FedEx. They
No way.
It feels
Yeah.
intentional.
Yeah.
It feels like an intentional backstab.
David Zaslav just really hates this movie. Like, he has like a vendetta.
Or he just doesn't care about social
He doesn't.
mores
He-
at all.
He doesn't.
Like,
I just can't imagine dumping all that money for literally nothing.
90. Okay, so say we guessed high end $90 million, right? Then you have 1.5 times that to budget. So that makes it about $145 to $150 million budget movie once it's done with marketing. You dump it onto HBO Max where it does not increase. And nobody that isn't the people that know Batgirl are already signed up for HBO Max is what I'm saying, right? Like, Batgirl is fairly iconic, but she's not bringing normies in. She's going to bring in people that already love DC projects to begin with. And those people, if they love that DC projects to begin with, already have HBO Max. They're not signing up for it for this movie. So 100.
yeah, I didn't understand the emphasis on getting subscriptions over just straight profits that you would get from a theatrical release. That feels like a very COVID era set of values.
And they keep talking about how Netflix's stock is now going back up since they announced their loss. right? So is the idea here that they just don't they don't have a way of recouping the money on this because with no theater release, and nobody's going to sign up for HBO Max. Though HBO Max has had slower growth than the other streaming services, it is still growing fairly steadily comparatively to the other ones. It just didn't have that out of the box major bump right off the bat. But I thought, if I'm being fair to them, adding it to the to their calendar over there doesn't seem like a bad idea to keep people subscribed to the service.
It was never gonna make up the money. Like, we knew that with that budget, it was never gonna make up the money. But like at this point, you gotta like minimize like the bleeding, is what I'm thinking.
Well,
so that's why I'm like,
they
like,
say it's because of this tax credit that they get from just taking it as a full loss.
Yeah, they write it off basically, and they have their quarterly earnings call today. And I also saw rumors that they may cut the comics division entirely.
What?
Like rumors. That was something that I saw in a video earlier. I mean, the funny thing is like the comic book writers have carved out this great niche for themselves where it costs so little to do the comics division that they're literally just like nobody. Like, I feel like if you were looking at a picture of like Warner Brothers headquarters, and if everybody worked in the same building, they're in the basement, and everyone just forgot they're down there, and they just get paid, and it's such a rounding error to the size of the company. Mm-hmm. that there's nobody knows what's going on down there because it doesn't actually cost that much to make the comics anymore because they pay them such crap rates.
Yeah, but that's also their own fault.
Yes,
they take the crap pay.
The stunt double, I feel bad. Some of these set photos, the pictures.
Why do you feel bad?
Well, the stunt double.
I mean, obviously the stunt double does not look even close to Leslie Grace.
But the stuff of Firefly looks cool. Like the stuff of him on top of the fire truck in the building here. The picture that I used as that I'm going to be using as the set for tomorrow, like him in his full costume, looks really, really cool. And I wanted to see Brendan Fraser play a bad guy.
Dude, what I would have given to be in that test audience.
30 out of 100. But I just don't buy that they can't.
They say, oh, it's because the visual effects aren't completed yet, so it's not close enough to the final product for the test screenings to be reflective of what it's going to be after the release, which is BS.
And also,
my guess is like literally the plot is like, take a Batwoman punch, yeah, like it's just like so like over the top.
Do you think it's going to be wokeness?
Obviously.
I don't.
Okay, so you would love to see it because you're a glutton for woke punishment.
No, I just want to see like what is the movie that's literally so bad that these people that have been like serving us shit on a platter for like years now, like they can't just show us.
Also, they like.
So yeah, I'm going for punishment.
I mean, if it's woke
Confirmed.
stuff that you're worried about, then I would say like not worth watching it if you could. But if it's a so bad it's good movie, then that is kind of a shame.
To this, it's like, does this make okay? Christopher Nolan stopped working with Warner Brothers because of their push to release everything on streaming in 2021. He disagreed with with the idea. He thinks that movies should be released in the theaters, so they lose him.
They think that they should have waited with all of their production,
like Top Gun did.
Yeah.
Okay, so they lose him for that reason. Actors are now going to be weary of working with them because they don't know if their projects are going to be pulled in the middle of it. Directors aren't going to know if their projects are going to be pulled in the middle of it. Granted, we're in the middle of like a changeover from Warner Brothers to Warner Brothers Discovery. So this is not, it's not like this is normal circumstances, right? This is different. I see this being a problem for them long term, but I kind of love it. I kind of love that David Zaslav doesn't care. I kind of love that he's just like, nope.
They've been, I think, needing an executive that doesn't care whether people like him.
Yeah, they absolutely need that. And they talk about how that was Jason Kilar's strategy was they wanted to push everyone to Warner Brothers, to HBO Max, but clearly Zaslav sees the prestige of theaters as the way to market your project.
And not just the prestige, but the actual
revenue.
Potential for profits is higher. And when you take it from the theaters into a streaming platform afterwards, then there's more familiarity and more likelihood that people are going to stream it.
There's also there's something to be said, like if this was released in a theater, like the star of the movie and the directors, if they have enough bargaining power, lose out on residuals and percentage of profit, right? If the movie makes enough money, they can get money on the back end of that project. With streaming, they're not going to get any of that. So at the very least, they likely got their payday. they're not walking out of this without
Yeah,
their money.
I feel like it almost would have been worse if they were told from the beginning that it would be a theatrical release and they changed their minds about that and had it streaming instead.
So I showed these photos. I do think that the photos are very cool. I also want to talk about the story that you found of the.
Yeah, it made me laugh.
Do you want to talk about that one? That one's
sure.
Great.
So they filmed this entirely in Glasgow. Is that how you say it?
I think Glasgow.
They had to shut down streets, and businesses were not allowed to operate during certain periods of, I think, like December to March.
For a very small fee. They weren't paid very much for this.
Yeah, and the city council didn't really take accountability for like standing up for the businesses. They're like, oh, it's between the production company and the businesses, but they got like €1,000 per month, which is €30 a day.
Did you see have you seen the meme of the guy at the basketball game with his hands on his hips like this, with the flannel?
Wait,
No.
It's like a picture. It's a guy at a basketball game. He's got his hands on his hips like this, and he's got a vest on. It's just they always say like Ron Paul anytime something happens, and he's like this, but it's not Ron Paul. It's a meme of somebody else. That's what this guy looks like here. He just looks so. He just looks so.
He's
upset.
very dissatisfied.
Yes.
I know that's why they chose his picture to go first, because the rest of the business owners looked rather cheerful.
Yeah.
But they got like €30 a day to be basically shut down for like as much as a whole month.
Yeah.
And it's just funny that like all of this, pomp and circumstance was given to the film when it was just for nothing.
For nothing.
Now
No.
the business owners are kind of ticked that they had to shut down and.
Well, it's not like they were going to
Almost.
make any money off of
Like,
it coming
yeah.
out. Like, they're
Well,
just,
I
now
know,
have
but
to
they're like,
watch
okay, now I don't even get to see my signage in a movie.
Plus,
Like there was one of these businesses that didn't have their signage covered up in the filming. I think it was like a brow waxing studio or something, and they were like all planning to go see the movie because the signage of their business was going to be in it, and they get free advertising.
I think it's well understood that people, more than anything, love seeing a train wreck, and it's getting so fans didn't like it. The actors got informed in the day of, so it's gonna get all their like negative press as well. Like I keep thinking that they're just building up the train wreck, so like we're all like, so you want to see how bad it is?
I don't
$5.99,
think that's
baby
what
boy.
this is. I don't think that's what this
You
is.
think they're actually going to release it?
Only history will tell.
It was far from completed, according to the directors.
Oh, really?
Still
Yeah.
needed effects to be done. Still in post production. Yeah, they weren't done.
So they're not going to continue paying anybody to finish.
Well, like when they released the Snyder Cut, that after people finally begged for enough, they gave him the money to finish making that movie.
I mean, no one's
But they're
gonna
not
beg for
gonna
this.
Nobody's
that
gonna
for
do
here.
that for this.
These are not Zack Snyder. This is not Ben Affleck. Sorry, Dane. Henry Cavill and the rest of the Justice League. This is not that.
I think if only to perturb the faction of their fan base that cared only about Leslie Grace's racial markers.
They said that
if only to bother them about the film getting scrapped, then it's worth it in my book.
They do talk about while Batgirl was supposed to be a win for representation. Like, what does that mean?
And also,
It
I
means
was
nothing.
I was poisoned against the film the second I saw her costume.
Yes, the costume is awful.
It was super cringe.
Granted, she's on a motorcycle for most of it, so I guess the motorcycle jacket makes perfect sense.
No, but
Stop trying
looks
to make
cheap.
it realistic. Stop.
Nobody wants realistic. She should be in a bikini while on the motorcycle.
There we
I mean,
go.
maybe not a bikini, but something.
Yes. So the duo, I will give the duo, the directors, they played it very professional in their like what they said in the outro. They were very cordial and like, look, we're sorry that this happened. That's a bummer. So it says the duo said that they're grateful for their time with DC Universe, praising their cast, especially the great Leslie Grace, who portrayed Batgirl with such passion, dedication, and humanity.
Apparently not.
I liked this. As directors, it's critical that our work be shown to audiences, and while the film was far from finished, we wish that fans all over the world would have had the opportunity to see and embrace the final film themselves. Maybe one day they will, inshallah.
Maybe Dane's right. Maybe Dane's right, and this ends up like being like
Dude,
a weird.
They're kind of hinting at the possibility.
They can be completely lying that, oh, we're not even done with production. Like, all this can be a lie.
Here, the Snyder Cut stuff worked because that fan base is ravenous. The people that care about this movie because of representation are not like that. They'll move on to the next and move on to the next.
They've
thing.
already forgotten.
They've already forgot. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.
Bye.